Okay, good afternoon, everyone. It's 3 o'clock Pacific Daylight Time. Let's get started. My name is Victoria Brasha. I'm a business advisor and financial strategist. Some of you may already know me. I've been doing Facebook Live for a while, a webinar even much longer, but Facebook Live for now close to a month. And I do it every week on Tuesday regarding the SBA Disaster Loan CARE Acts and PPP, because I know that things changing all the time, and also some people may not know ahead of time, and now knowing the new updates, the new rule, maybe you want to do something differently, and also the business situation may be different. So today I'm here for about an hour, talk about all this, okay, including additional fundings may be available in your area as well, to grants, different things. Okay, let's get started. Hi, Facebook fan. It seems it's running live, so just want to say hello. And some of you maybe on my earlier webinar that was 1:30 p.m. Pacific time, about the two-part mid-year business planning. Nice to see you again so soon, and hope to see you next Thursday when we will get to the how part, okay? Now, let me share screen, and for this webinar, we are going to focus on the SBA loans, the PPP, the EIDL, the Flexibility Act, and how it's going to affect the EDD and all those, and synonym, acronym, all these things, like sometimes really confusing, right? So I'm here to go through all that so you have a clear understanding, okay? Let me get started with the PowerPoint. So today I'm going to go through the what to watch out when you're applying the EIDL, which is Economic Injury Disaster Loan, okay, the SBA loan, right? What to watch out, because I know some of the people applied before. There was some mistakes made and a lot of headache because of that, right? So that's one thing. Now that EIDL loan is open again, that's great, right? Good news, but also when you apply, you want to make sure you did it correctly. Some things maybe you just, it seems simple once I told you, you're like, oh, okay, I knew, but when you were doing it, maybe you didn't pay that attention to, okay? And also, again, the PPP, and we know that the PPP has changed from 8 weeks to 24 weeks. What are the nuances with that rule change, the Flexibility Act, right? And also be aware that we only have the deadline for applying PPP and getting approved is June 30th, right? There's still money there, but the deadline is June 30th. So we really want to, if you still want to apply, which now I think with a 24-week rule, it's really a lot more appealing than it used to be that 8-week, right? So you can still apply. So I'm going to also mentioning that. And if your banker, your credit union no longer does that, they are also still online lenders available for the PPP, okay? I'll discuss that as well too in this presentation. Okay, actually this is not the two-part webinar series. This is just a weekly Tuesday, I should have put it. This is just a weekly Tuesday about the business finance now, particularly with the SBA Disaster Loans. I'm changing the format of my webinar. It's still the same time, just is less confusing for people, okay? So it's the same thing. Again, first of all, thank you for attending my webinar. I know, there's a lot of webinar out there and a lot of, information, like why you're spending the time listening to me. So again, my name is Victoria Brasha. I'm a business advisor and financial strategist with Victory Finance Incorporated. And also I'm a certified business advisor for Silicon Valley Small Business Development Centers. It's a nonprofit organization funded by SBA, and for my particular center is funded by Santa Clara County. But there are thousands of the small business development centers throughout the U.S., and you will be able to find one that's near you. Of course, you can always ask for my help as well too. It's free assistance to small local businesses. But if you want more something that's specific, more pertain to your local area, sometimes the rule not only varies from the state, but varies from the county, like within the new opening and grants. So you might want to also reach out to your local SBDC centers as well, okay? And all the assistance is free through the small business development centers. I get updated almost on a daily basis directly from SBA and SBDC. So there, as I said, there are so much information out there. What is accurate, what is current? I mean, there's sometimes even the information from your bank, from your lender, right? Still, it's actually not up to date in a way, right? So that's the thing. It's best to come directly from SBA and SBDC. Of course, we are, funded by SBA, right? So we do get quite a directing channel of communication. Okay, and me as a person, as a business owner, I owned and managed a women's clothing store for over 15 years. I did manufacture my design, and also did a wholesale throughout the US, over 100 boutiques, and also combined with my business degree in finance, really gave me an overall look of business as a whole, small business owners as a whole, whether it's business operation, finance, and sales marketing, okay? And I sit on advisory board for Industry Council for Small Business Development, ambassador for Silicon Valley Central Chamber of Commerce, and also on Asian Affairs Business Committee with Cupertino Chamber of Commerce. As you know, that I'm very active in the local business communities. Now, before I start the presentation, I do want to do a disclaimer. It's just because the guideline, the detail regarding the CARE Acts are changing all the time, as we know how many, updates and the forms, and now that there's the Flexibility Act, right, just came out about a little over a week ago. So a lot of changes in the CARE Act, and I can understand, this is something the government have never done, as SBA never has done, and as they are rolling out the plan, rolling out with the best intention, and sometimes they realize that there's part that's not clear or being misused. So that's why there's more updates. The goal is to help small business owner to be able to do better, right? That's also the change from 8 weeks to 24 weeks with the PPP, because it just was not making sense for that, right? And so this information is only up to date as of June 22nd, 2020. So since yesterday. So now let's first start with the PPP. Well, actually, this webinar, what I'm gonna include, and then I'll start. So I give you a little overview so you know that what's going to be talked in this webinar. If you have Q&A, and put in the questions, put in a Q&A section throughout my presentation, because I talk to so many business owners. I know quite a bit of questions they ask as I'm presenting it, I'm going to already answer quite a few questions you might have. It's already going to be answered as well too, but you can still put in the question on the Q&A at the end of the webinar. I can, look at it and then answer if you have any question. But I suspect a lot of questions would already be answered throughout the webinar, just because of how many small business owners I talk to and what questions they have, okay? So for this webinar, it's going to talk about what's included in June's PPP Flexibility Act, right? And the how it's calculated, the total forgiveness amount, and the filing, disbursement process and requirements for the PPP. And also the difference and updates regarding the EIDL and PPP, and the self-employment in self-employed, self-proprietor, independent contract, or people that you have employees are on EDD, how it's going to affect your PPP in that sense, okay? Now, since even for PPP and EIDL, all of them, they are right now, you can apply, right? So how do you apply online, and what are the additional fundings, available, or there are even grants? So how do you get that, right? As a business, you're probably struggling. It's great, even the grant, usually I see the grants about $5,000 to $15,000 per business for in the local level, or especially special ones, like I know like Facebook did some, right, the different ones as well too. So it's good to be able to get these different fundings, the grants, okay? And how to get local assistance from SBDC, Small Business Development Centers. As I said, it's a nonprofit organization, so all the helps we give out is free. So you don't need to worry about the fees that will be involved in, like you said, like, oh, how much is it going to cost me? No, it doesn't cost anything, okay? We're here to help you as a small business owner to, survive and be successful, going, overcome this difficulty right now, okay? So that's what's SBDC then. Okay, so the Paycheck Protection Program. Now, one thing is, with the second round of the $320 billion funding, there's still over $100 billion available. So when, you go talk to your banker and then they say, whoa, it's, it's gone, it's already done, we're done. That only means that the particular bank or credit union, they are done with the funding because they reached their quota, the amount of money allocated to that particular bank, say, from the SBA. But there are also additional, the funding's still available, so there will be additional lenders that will have that kind of funding. They may have not used up the allocated quota. And so you can still get the PPP. And remember, the deadline is end of this month, so you really have to be quick, right? One thing we want to, I know that I talk quite a bit of it. I don't know, it might be repeat to some people have talked, me talking about this. I just have to assume like not everybody has been with me throughout this, right now, what, 3 months almost, since April, mid-April. So, since the end of April, I start doing the webinar. So quite a few months now, the 7-8 lenders. So those are the SBA approved lenders. Okay, so that's it. Originally, it was for, it's still for 8 weeks of payroll relief months. Okay, so right now you can spend it for a longer time, but the amount of money you get is still 8 weeks. So that's one thing people get confused, because of the change of 8 weeks, 24 weeks, they thought they're going to get more money. No, it's still for only 8 weeks. Okay. And also you have to be in business prior to February 15th. So February 15th, 2020 is an important number to remember, okay? Because throughout, we're going to talk about that number as well too. So the interest rate is 1%. That's if your PPP is not forgiven, the remaining of your PPP, right? If it's all forgiven, so you don't have to worry about. The term right now is moved from 2 years to 5 years, but it's not automatic. I'll mention that as well too. And the maximum is 2 million, but I have not seen that much. And then the ISRS say if it's more than 2 million fund, they're going to audit. But for most of us, it's not going to be an enforced audit. It's more your lender is going to go looking through your paperwork and to decide whether your PPP will be forgiven or not. So it's good to make sure that you establish that good relation, maintain that good relation with your lender, okay, with a PPP, so that you will have the update information. And I know a lot of people, a business owner told me like, oh, my bank doesn't even know. I've been asking them, they know less than I did. So that's because they came to my webinar, so they know quite a bit of what's with PPP, right? So that's a possibility too. But it's up to you to take proactive measure to make sure this way your money 100% will be forgiven for PPP. Okay, there's no fee, no personal guarantee, no collateral, and no credit required for PPP application. One thing they do need is the form. So there's a PPP loan application form. Any bank you apply, or any lender, should I say, because there are so many lenders and non-bank right now, will have you fill out a form. It could be online, could be just one that they download for SBA, but there will be a form which is pretty simple to fill. And the one thing is some people say, oh, I don't know, I didn't do the 941. So the 941 basically is quarterly employee filing. So if you have W-2 earners, that's what you need. Otherwise, the 941 is not necessary for self-employed and also the W-2s, okay? But for self-employed, basically, it's the 1099 and Schedule C. It's basically based on the Schedule C line 31 to decide how much money they're going to give you. So you have to have the Schedule C for 2019, okay? So that's the Schedule C. And the purpose of the PPP is to provide small business to maintain their payroll, hire back their employees who have been laid off or furloughed to cover the applicable overhead expenses. So it's very important because most of you have both receive both EIDL and also PPP. So make sure that, because PPP usage is much more specific and where EIDLs is much more broad. So you want to make sure that PPP is used for this, the payroll. And I will also detail a little bit later more other things you can do too with the PPP, but it's just remember it's much more limited. Okay, and it's going to, because the bank is going to check whether it's forgiven or not. So now you have you have to basically talk to the bank and have the bank go through that, which is going to be a much strict, shall we say, the process, right? The auditing process in a way. Whereas the SBA Disaster Loan, it's from SBA, of course, they have the rule and the guidance too, and they could, just like your income tax, right? They can audit you, but it's more of a random auditing in a sense. So it's like income tax. You have to tell the truth and do the way it is, but it's not going to be going through like line by line for the transaction in that sense. Okay, and it's much broader use than the PPP. And as I said, that you have to take proactive measure for your lender, for your whoever you basically did the PPP loan application for, and ask them that if they have the internal SBA E-Trend number for your loan, because that's the loan. If you get that loan, that means you get approved. And as for lender, they say, oh, we're submitting, we're still waiting. That it actually is not the case. If they have, you have to ask them if they have submitted to SBA. They may be submitting to other lenders and see if there are other lenders have the funds available so they can go through them. But if they have the funds, the quota for the funds, should I say, they should be able to submit to SBA directly and get an E-Trend number within minutes, say hour, so it should be very quick. And the point is you want to contact your lenders, proactively and, constantly, and especially now the PPP is going to finish, right? So you really want to make sure what's happening to it. Okay. And if you need other lenders, the 7A lender, all you need to do is sba.gov/paycheck protection/fund, and you put your zip code there, a lot of lender will show up. But of course, one thing about this link is you may not know who has the funding, who is doing that. So it may be time consuming for you to go through that list and see, right? But there are 3 of them. And again, because they don't report to us if they are running out of fund or not. So we don't know, but I know that they were accepting new applicants as of last week. So those are non-customer lender, meaning you don't have to have an account with them in order to get the PPP loan from them. They are the Lendistry.com, Lendistry.com, LENDISTRY, Lendistry.com, and FundingCircle.com, OpportunityFund.org. Okay, so those are the online ones that you can just type in the link and see if you can just apply online. If they are out of fund, they probably will tell you as you're trying to apply, they say, oh, we don't have the funding anymore, right? And also, there's a list. Again, it might not be up to date because they don't report to us, but these are the people that the lenders, should I say, these are the lender got approved by SBA to do the PPP loan only. So they are not the SBA 7A lender, meaning these are the people that usually do not do the SBA regular loan, right? But they are approved for PPP. So if you are applying for PPP, you can reach out to these people, okay? These companies, should I say. And the common ones that we know really well is I think there is the Square, for business owner, a lot of, they use PayPal, they use Square, right? So there's PayPal, there's Square, there's the Intuit. So if people use the accounting book, use Intuit, right? So there are quite a few company that are pretty well known. Okay, so those are this. I'm going to not talk too much about what's included and what's not included in the cost. Okay, in that sense, because I know a lot of people already know. I just want to go through also the idle application and also the new ones as well too. So we know that the payroll and rent and utility can be included in the PPP forgiveness, and also the interest on the mortgage, that's business mortgage, right? Prior to February 15th. Again, that's the prior to February 15th, including the rent. So if I had a business owner tell me like they basically didn't know, they signed a lease, which starts March 1st. They had an old business, but they moved to a new location. That lease was supposed to be for March 1st, what's going to happen, right? So this is a payment and rent lease enforced prior to February 15th. So that's one thing that you have to talk to the lender to see if for the specifics, because the SBA will provide a broad guideline, but it's up to the lenders. That's why it's important to understand it's up to the lender in terms of the forgiveness. Of course, the lender cannot just make up rules, right? They have to follow the guideline, the rules for the PPP through SBA. But on the other hand, there's things that's, written this way, it's not part of the ruling. Now you have to really talk to the lender and see, okay? And also one thing about the PPP loan, so it's 1%, right? But on the other hand, it's 1%. If it's not forgiven, it's not after the loan starts. Basically, the day one, if that money is not forgiven, now you do get 1% charge for the amount that's become a loan. Okay, even though the payment's much later, and I will tell you a little bit more detail in the Flexibility Act, right? The 100% loan forgiveness. One is your business can choose 8 weeks or 24 weeks for payroll period. So before I was talking to the SBA, right, it wasn't very clear. Business owners are asking me, oh, so Victoria, what about 10 weeks, 11 weeks? I think 8 weeks is too tight to use up the money now. It's great, it's 24 weeks, but I just want to get it done. I think I can get done in 11 weeks. Then I can just, do this loan forgiveness thing. I talked to the SBA district office here. We are in the Northern California, okay? And basically they said that right now there's nothing in between. It's either you choose 8 weeks or you choose 24 weeks. So for the people, I think, got the PPP loan early, and you're almost done. Your 8 weeks, is coming up, and it may be better for you to choose the 8 weeks instead of the 24 weeks. Why I'm saying that, because it's because of that there's this rule about maintaining this same average payroll average, and also there is this head count based on the February 15th, right? So if you're confused and you don't know like what is best for you, definitely you can contact me, and we can see what's the best way for you. But now you know that it's only either 8 weeks or 24 weeks. There's nothing in between you can choose, okay? But one thing has changed is the employment headcount, right? Before they say, oh, you have to restore the same number of the full-time employee, they call that, FET, right? The same number by June 30th. Now it's moved to December 31st. So what it means is basically, as long as by December 31st, you don't have to do this right now. Even you say you are only using the PPP money and you're paying less than, you say you had 5, now you only have 3, right? It doesn't matter, as long as by end of December 31st, now your full-time employee on your payroll, the head counts, right, is the same as February 15th, right? That again, they're looking at your February 15 number. That's why I say that number is very important to remember everything that February 15, okay? So now they give you additional 6 months to get back to that level. And one good news is before the payroll is 75% minimum. Right now, the new Flexibility Act, basically it reduced to 60%. That's why I say for people who you're pretty much done with the 8 week, right? Maybe a good idea, because the payroll right now is only 60% rather than 75%. And then you have more money to pay the rent, because a lot of people, they have challenges for paying the rent. They may not have that many people in the payroll, but the rent is really major expense. It's like even for me when I had a clothing store, right? I may have some sales rep, they're independent contractors, right? So I don't have to pay them kind of like as a W-2. But as a W-2 earner, I had 2 employees, but my rent is, in downtown on Laurel Street in San Carlos, it's much more expensive than my monthly payroll. So that's, that's that. But of course, I already closed the store a few years back. So I kind of feel somewhat lucky in a way, right? Or that. So the EDD, right? That's the touchy point because of the $600 extra with the Pandemic Employment Act, right? The PUA. A lot of workers are making more money staying home, doing nothing, collecting unemployment rather than coming back to work. And also it's kind of, in a way, also your business is not in full operation mode. You really don't need that many employees, right? The manpower in that sense. So now one thing is, by after that 24 weeks, of course, I don't know when you got your PPP, right? So now you can basically wait for starting the PPP after July 31st, right? Because July 1st, 31st is when the PUA, the Pandemic Employment Act, that $600 extra a week finishes. So that's not going to be affecting people, like if your business really doesn't need that many employees, right? It's kind of they may be better off just stay home in that sense. And then the other thing is maybe you can hire them part-time. I know, like with a very limited part-time, EDD doesn't give us the guideline as like how many hours per se when you hire somebody back, were they not losing the PUA. But I know people filed for 5 hours or 6 hours a week work, which is basically the amount of hours needed for their business in that sense per employee. It's just, they don't need that many, right? But they want to keep all their employees. So when the business does pick up, now with the reopening of the business, most states is on stage 3 right now, right? And some are stage 4. Now they can use more employees at that time, right? So by doing so, hiring them only for very limited part-time, they still are able to get the PUAs, the $600, and then their employment will reduce somewhat. But on the other hand, it's still pretty good because the $600 a week is the one that, is mostly major income for people. So that's definitely also a way as well to make the PPP work for your business and also for your employee. But if you need the people, you got your PPP, you need your employee back, and they don't want to come back, you want to get their written notice, and then you do have to notify the EDD as well too, okay? Before they were saying, okay, it's fine, you don't need to notify, but now EDD does require employee and employer to notify the changes. Okay, we already know about the payroll utility ratios, the 1% now. So 5-year part is one thing about 5-year part is it's not automatic, right? You got a 2-year term basically after 6 months, and if your amount is not forgiven, if it's forgiven, great, you don't need to do anything, that's done, okay? But if it's not to be forgiven, then what used to be, then you have 18 months of the loan payment, they amortize it, including that 1%. Now it's for 5 years. but it's not automatic. You have to renegotiate with your lender. It's only for the loans that approve after June 5th. So that's like only like a little over a week, almost 2 weeks ago, right? That's the one that's automatic. Okay. Otherwise, you sign the loan document with your lender, and that's what it is. So, but you can renegotiate. Okay. Now the new one after June 5th. Okay, that's the ones automatic June 5th, and the other one, as I say, you have to negotiate. Is the payment is on the 10th month after your PPP cover period. What does that mean? Is if you say you got the PPP loan, your 8 weeks period finishes, say in I would say June 15th, right? So now you have 10 months. The first payment is 10 months after June 15th. But now if you pick 24 weeks, now the 10 months period is after the 24th week, okay? Of course, we're talking about first payment is only if you have the loan of 1%, your PPP is not 100% forgiven, right? If it's for 100% forgiven, you don't have to worry about it. The goal is for you is to get as much forgiveness as possible, right? To keep your business going rather than paying it. But it's good, important to know the rules so you don't get caught by surprise. And I'm like, oh, what happened, right? I thought it was 10th week after the cover period. Why my lender is still, giving me that 2-year thing, the 18-month thing and all that, right? And so that's why you need to renegotiate, okay? Again, the deadline for getting approved to apply for the PPP, as I said, there's still money there, is June 30th. So there's still over $100 billion there. And, but I know it's a little bit a difficult process right now because even though there's the money, but it's hard to find lenders. Most of the bank there seems already done with their PPP thing already, right? So it's like, how can I find a lender? But they are on these online ones. And if you have a question, you want to talk to me, definitely you can contact me, okay? And also the forgiveness, right? With the application now, it comes with 2 PPP form now. It's they basically definitely changed from the 13-page PPP to become 2 forms this time. One is called the Easy 3508, which is the PPP forgiveness, right? The bank now should have that. And basically, if you're self-employed, it doesn't matter. You can have the corporation, LLC, whatever it is, and you don't have an employee. Maybe all your employee is are independent contractors, right? Because you're talking about here, no employee means no W-2s, okay? Or it doesn't have the end. It's just one of the condition meets, you can file this, which makes it so much easier. You did not reduce employees' pay more than 25%, no reduction of hours, and more than 25%. So now the second one just means you do have W-2 earners, but you did not reduce their pay by 25% or more than 25%, and you did not reduce their hours. So if they were, say, before full-time 40 hours, they're still 40 hours, okay? You can use the easy form, which is so much easier, honestly. And then reduction of business activity and employee pay due to COVID health directive, meaning that basically it's not you trying to do it, it's the shelter in place, business activity change, right? A reduction. So number 2 and number 3, it's almost talking about the same thing. Basically, if we didn't reduce the employees' pay by 25% or reduce their hours, it's okay. Whether it's reduction because of the COVID health directive, you can't get to work, right? Have business open or whatever. It is still that same number 2. Okay, so those are basically the 3 things where just one of that will qualify you, and you can use the easy form. The easy form really is pretty simple. There's not much accounting, worksheet there. And then you basically need to just initial all these things on the left and say, yes, right, you agree. And that's pretty much it. And then you sign it, that's done, okay? So that's the easy form, it's easier. But the regular form, the 3508, the regular form, basically will including the worksheet and the tables and the full-time employment pay, compensation, and the local tax. So it's a little bit more involved in terms of calculation. And it also can include compensation to owners and general partners, because some of the owners have the not on W-2, but it's on a draw, right? So this does allow that as well too. And also the third thing is also important is the FTE, that's full-time employment reduction safe harbor in several scenarios. So that gives you kind of a way that even you reduce the full-time employment head, you do not have to hire more additional people or hiring them back, by December 31st for this 100% loan forgiveness. So this basically is the first side of form is the same, but then now you have the, Schedule A, Table 1, Table 2. So there's a little bit more involved in terms of the calculation. Again, if you have a question, you can contact me. I know as of now, none of the bank or lenders is doing the, has started, I should say, even though the 8 weeks for some original one, because I think it started April 15th. I don't know when they got the loan, right? Some of them could in principle already finish that 8 weeks period, right? They didn't know it was 8 weeks, right? But I know that no financial institution lenders have started the loan forgiveness yet, because they probably want more clarity with the SBA to make sure how they can proceed with the forgiveness. So that's basically the form. But for you, it's good to know, right, to have that form so that you know what to do moving forward, especially if you haven't finished that 8-week period and decide to elect the 24 weeks. Now you can change your strategies in that sense, okay? And here is basically the table, the worksheet as well too. And I do have a Excel sheet for this. So if somebody wants it, you can just email me at info@victoryfinanceinc.com or call me and leave me a message at 650-382-1118. Okay, so if you, because I have people in the Facebook, so I want to make sure that you guys got the information. So just contact me, you'll get that information, okay? And now the pandemic employment assistance, right? I mentioned at the beginning. So I mentioned a bit earlier. So because of that, there was some challenges. First of all, the UPA now, self-employed business owners, sole proprietors, independent contractors, they basically can apply, right? Before it was only for W-2 earners. So now you can apply and you can be eligible. There's this website, but if you go to EDD website, that's www.edd. This is a CA, so for people, it's in California, that's edd.ca.gov, right? If you're outside of California, you can look it up for EDDs. I'm sure they have the link right there, okay? So one thing is the 39 weeks benefit, okay, for employment. That's just the regular unemployment. That starts at February 2nd and the ending is, of course, it depends on where you are at, right? And ending in December 26th, okay? So that's the 39-week regular EDD unemployment. The PUA, that's the $600 additional. That's the one that will end, basically starts March 29th and it will end in July 31st, okay? Even though there's talk with the Congress and Senator to see what they can do, maybe small amount of money, maybe, encourage people working or something. But as we know that they are probably not gonna extend the PUA till July 31st because so it's going to end on July 31st because of the part that it's hard for people, to find workers in that sense, right? So that's basically that PUA thing. And I mentioned earlier how you can combine now, knowing all these rules and see how you can combine it or how you can delay it so you can get the best, for your business, to utilize the EDD and also to utilize the PPP, okay, and get the 100% forgiveness. Okay, and as accounting aspect of the PPP, just remember your lender will require a detailed documentation for your PPP transaction. There's the worksheet, right? The worksheet is just a worksheet, right? The form you fill out, but the bank has the right to require you to give them a detailed documentation. Okay, so it's you as a business owner, you need to be responsible to either use a spreadsheet, a Google Sheet, if you like, you're good with computer, right? Or if you just want to, track it. I know a lot of business owners actually did a great job with a little notebook and they have all their transaction, whatever kind of document that way, right? So you can do that as well too. It can be a handwritten accounting journal if you don't want to use the computer. And also archive all the relevant receipts. The receipts, most of receipt is this thermal paper, right? If it exposed to too much in the sun or heat or whatever, it fades, right? You can't even see what's going on. So make sure that when the receipt is still fresh, right? You want to take a picture, or there are online scanner applications that I know, like a Genius Scan or something, right? There are a lot of scanning applications. You can just download it and use your phone, that every time you have a receipt, you can just say plus the document, and then this way, at this original document, right? You don't do a new one. So this way, at the end, you have one file, PDF file, you have all the document, meaning all the receipts, okay? So that's a great way to keep track of those receipts. And then isolate relevant expenses. What I mean by that, because some of your expenses, a lot of people, they pay utility using their credit cards, okay? But there are a lot of other expenses that's not part of PPP. But, when you pay the credit card off, usually you say you just pay one payment, right? Now you want to make sure either pay, I think the best way is pay separately too, because the credit card company does allow you to have multiple transactions, right? So to pay that amount specific, say that utility is $200 for that month, right? You wrote that and then you just say utility pay for, your business address. Now this is isolated, right? Even though you're paying the credit card company, but with the transaction from your this PPP loan amount of money, right? Now it shows, okay, this is for paying that utility. Okay, so you don't glob all the lump sum, all the expenses. So you want to isolate the relevant expenses. And also easy way I recommend, honestly, is to not only that part, right, but is to have a separate checking account. If, I know like credit union is pretty low, you only need $100 balance and that's it. And also some other bank, maybe a savings account or something. So it doesn't require the minimum balance, because towards the end, you want it all finished, right? And you don't want to, getting charged on hit on monthly fee till this PPP thing gets the loan forgiveness. You still have to have the account open, right? So that probably it would be a way to do that, or just even putting a savings account attached to your business checking, so there's no bank statement fees or monthly bank service fee, and then taking on the money that way. So this way you will be able to produce a bank statement for your lenders that's all the expenses is strictly for PPP. And I'm even doing that with my idle loan, right, to have it separate. Idle's a little bit more loose, more the usage is a little bit more broad and everything, but I still feel it's better I do it that way, so I keep track of everything. Okay. So make sure you do that as well too. And we know that now that the IDO is accepting the new EIDL applications. Now the rate is still 3.75, okay, but one thing, PPP is not for nonprofit organization. You're not going to be eligible even if you have W-2 on it, but IDO loan is, okay? The IDO loan is not forgiven. The IDO advance is forgiven. So just, that part, okay? Basically, it's going to be a 30-year fixed interest rate loan, okay? And the first payment is till the 12th month, okay? So you don't have to pay for pretty much for a year, okay? But although the interest will accrue, when you get the loan. And the limit is $2 million, but mostly I saw people getting 150,000 or less. And now let me talk you through the IDO loan, right? You get it, it might be confused. What's the process, okay? So because some of you already got the email, didn't know what to do with that email. Are they legit? Or what should I do, right? So once you'll get an email, and then I forgot what it said, but at the end, it definitely says .sba.gov. I think it says some relief. I should have found it. I forgot, but I only just saw this .sba.gov, and there's no hyphen, there's no dash, okay? And they basically ask you to create a portal, create an account. So there's a link, you can create an account, put your username and password. And once you do that, what will happen is this is already kind of completed, right? But the stage is they basically will have 0 to whatever amount you are approved for. So say if 150, so they have 0 to 150, and that you can, there's a slider. So if it's 0 means you don't want anything, it's fine. You can just put in 0 and then let it go, right? And that's it. But you say, I do want to have money. There is $100. I don't know if I heard that people say over 25,000, there's $100 charge, or if there's a $100 charge. But definitely for this 36,300, there is a $100 charge on top of it. So what you will get is 36,200, even though your loan amount is 36,300. Okay, so once you click on whatever you want, right, that slider, you decide how much you want, and then you just need to go in and identify your identity. They will ask you a few personal questions. Make sure you're doing it in that portal, okay, and and also make sure that it should be looking like this, okay? Anything not similar to that, it could be, because there are quite a bit of scam people, right? So you want to make sure that you be very careful when you start. And then also, now this electronic disbursement, that's for you to put in your checking account, business checking account. You want the money to get in, okay? So that part will be grayed out, because what happened is all it says you're qualified doesn't mean you're approved. So you get these two steps completed, okay? And then this third part will gray out, and then your basically a person from SBA basically is their loan agent. They also SBA hide a lot of different loan agents. See, right? And then they will start to contact you and ask you questions, and they will give you also phone number and everything. You can call them too. And also there's a 800 number. So if you're not sure, if you think it's somehow, I'm not sure it's exactly these people or whatever, you can call that 800 number. Now it's actually pretty fast. They're open 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern time. And then ask for a level 2 people, because the level 1 will not, have your application number. They are there to ask you general questions, right? But if you need to verify if that loan person contact you is indeed working for SBA, you just ask for that person's name and email and see if it's on file, because that person, your loan agent will ask you for personal informations. Like for me, Pacific, they wanted my bank statement, right? So different things. And so I want to make sure that this person is not a fraud also, because when I got it, I did got an email warning saying it's out of the network, sending out, not directly through SBA. So that's how I checked. And so that's the way to make sure that the funding go through. Usually when you accept it, you have 30 days to sign the document. There's a document you can't really print out. So before you sign it, just make sure that you allocate some time to look through it, and because you cannot print it out, right? And then it's an e-sign document, okay? So now with the new SBA loan, they are accepting, as of June 15th, now they accept all businesses. When you got to the SBA, they will have looking like this, okay? Just make sure, again, it's the SBA website. Don't click the link from the email you got. Somebody say, oh, now SBA loans, it looks like from SBA. Say, oh, apply here. You just go directly to the SBA link, okay? Go like open a fresh website browser and type sba.gov, and it will come up, okay? And I also have a link as well too for you directly, but also you can just go directly online. Do not click the link through the email that you don't know, okay? Looks like from SBA, don't click on that. But that's how it will look like. And then you just click on all these boxes. So one thing you want to be careful is is this part, can fit the arrow, yeah. It's 12 months prior to date of the disaster, January 31st. So you want to make sure that your gross revenue is from, not for 2019, but it's from February 1st, 2019 to January 31st, okay? So that's one thing. And also cost of goods, and a lot of people get confused, like, oh, I don't have cost of goods because I provide services. And cost of goods also in this case means all your business operational costs for you, okay? Because they only say cost of goods sold for these 12 months, right? Then if you say this is basically this is the amount they're going to decide how much they're going to give you for the EIDL loan, right? So if you say, oh, I don't have cost of goods sold, then there's no EIDL loan, right? And so make sure that you put the business operational costs in there, okay? Of course, these are for people who have real estate, landlord, real estate, and for the lost rent, Airbnb, that's a third one, and then agriculture or nonprofit organization is the fourth one. So for regular businesses, it's the first line and second line, okay, that you need to fill out in that sense, okay? So make sure you are aware of that part. And the other thing also is you may got fundings like, you got PPP, you may got grant, you need to put these information there, the amount of money received and what kind of you got, okay? The business has to be physical address. And any individual owners that owns more than 20%, they have to fill out the form. So if you have owners more than 20%, owns more than 20%, or refuse to do it, you have a trouble. You have an issue, right? It requires anybody, business owners over 20% have to also fill the form together, okay? And anybody who complete, help you complete the form, and whether they pay your fee or whatever agree you want to put in there so that they can contact. And then one thing is very important is that in the middle, there's a checkbox that I would like to be considered for an advance of up to 10,000. So you want to make sure you check that box, because this, by checking this box doesn't obligate you for the SBA disaster loan. When you get this portal comes up, right? I told you there's a slider from 0 to whatever amount they are going to give you. You just put in 0, you'll still be eligible getting that grant, the advance. They don't call the grant, I'm sorry. So the idle advance money. And it's basically tax-free money that you can use for your business, and there's no limit how you can use that business. Usually it's about $1,000 per employee. If you're self-employed, you get $1,000. If you have employee and that's in independent contract, it doesn't count. It's W-2 owner, because independent contract they can apply themselves. But if it's more than 10 people, say you have more than 10 people or more, right? And the maximum you can get is that $10,000, okay? And here, double check where to send the fund to. I had people basically fill out the information wrong for the account number. They didn't got the idle advance money and all that stuff. Now we have to backtrack and double check, right? So make sure that double check that information is accurate. And you want to, regardless if you want the loan or not, you need to put that where to send the fund to, because that's where they're gonna deposit you the idle advance money. They're not gonna tell you whether you're getting it or not. They basically just the money just kind of magically appear in your account. Okay, so that's why it's important to get that. And the check will look like SBAD, basically SBA Disaster Loan, right? And the missed pay or TRESA, something, so it's from Treasurer, from SBA, something similar to that right now, okay? Now to apply directly, right? There's a website called covid19relief.sba.gov. Okay, so you can apply directly as this. It's the same one, whether you just want the advance or whether you want the loan, right? You just want to make sure you check that box. It's the same link, you go through that, and then there's, even if you don't put a hashtag there, there's a link say apply, right? So it's there, so, okay. And then the SBA email, actually I found a lot of business owners told me, oh, I emailed them, they didn't seem replying back. It's disaster custom service at sba.gov. I found that calling them is more effective during their business hour. That's 800-659-2955. Okay, so calling them, and then if you can't, because when the people answering the call, they call the level 1 person, right? They don't have your information. Even if you want to give them the loan number, they don't. And if you have something very specific, you ask them, can I talk to the level people, because I have this specific question, it's regarding my loan, my application, whatever it is, advance, right? Or, I want to check this loan agent if he's legit or not. So that you can just ask for them and you'll get a level 2 people, okay? And if you need assistance from SBDC, as I say, the link is SBA sba.gov/local-assistance-fund, and you can just type your zip code and pick SBDC center. There are also other centers. There's SCORE, there's small business, I think it's a women's business development center. There are quite a few of these non-profit organizations helping small business owners. Okay, so utilize those free resources, as SBA, Small Business Agency, is to help small business, right? So yeah, and for us as a small business owner, we want to be able to utilize these, fund resources. Heck, we pay the tax for this, right? And it's a tax money for those for these agencies. We definitely, as a small business owner, want to utilize that. Okay, and of course, if you are in California, state of California, there are two things the state of California doing. One is the sales tax deferment. And then the other, so you don't have to pay the sales tax till, I think, end of year. I have a second slide shows up. And then they also have the iBank loan, which is basically guaranteed by the state of California. Okay, and SBA also have bridge loans, and they have the SBA loan support, which if you have a current SBA 7A loan, you will get 6 months of principal and payment free. The SBA will just pay for it. Okay, and the other one, which is kind of important, because I know some more people are thinking about the 504 loans for SBA. 504 loans for SBA is basically a loan for real estate, commercial property. Okay, the interest rate is very low right now. It's 2.84%, I think. And then there's also the 7A loan. Those ones are the new ones I'm talking about. Okay, if you have the existing ones, SBA will pay for the 6 months principal and interest, right? But you say, okay, I want to get new loans for business loan, which is a 7A and traditional loan. So those are loans that's not linked to the disaster loan, right? Those are the regular loan, but it's just SBA right now is encouraging people to get those type of regular loan, when, if you already had EIDL, you have PPP, but you need an additional one for your business, or if you want to expand now the real estate market. Right now it's still holding, but maybe, you see some good ones that you want to get into that, the real estate, commercial real estate aspect, right? And they also have micro loans. So anything funded, so the words funded, not just applied, right? It's funded prior to September 27th, 2020, they will pay the fee, which is great. They are going to waive the fee, waive the principal, and waive the interest. So for 6 months. Okay, so that's also a very good deal because there's no fee. Usually regular SBA loans have a fee, right? This one, they're going to waive the fee as well too. But again, it's funded prior to September 27th, and it will take a while for funding, so don't apply in the last minute, okay? And the iBank loan, they have the micro loans, and then they also have the disaster state guaranteed loan, which is up to $1 million. Okay, yeah, tax deferment is up to 12 months, and it's maximum $50,000, which is great as well too. Okay, and if you're in state of California, and if you want to know more about those loans, state guaranteed disaster loans, let me know. There's also local loans as well too, and local grant, and then the eligibilities. So the first one is the for state of California, it's ibank.ca.gov. Okay, and then also there are multi-states program that's for grant and everything, and that's from US chamberfoundation.org. And when you go there, you'll be able to find different grant. And I know also different city, where I'm at city, I see nearby me city of Santa Clara, there was city of now Sunnyvale. Different city are doing different grant programs. It's anywhere from 5,000 to 15,000. So, and those are the grant, right? You don't need to, they're just to help business owner. You don't have to return it. It's your grant. So that's also good. And you want to check with your local city website or county website, or maybe local chamber of commerce to see if they have those kind of program available, okay, to help your business. And I know, like, I don't know if it's already, they're already fund, the funds are already finished or whatever. I know Facebook has it, and Kiva has it, and then the Opportunity Fund, and there's something specially for restaurant had it, right? So there are a lot of different small business grants available, not only just city, but also a lot of companies doing that as well too, okay? So remember to apply the EIDL loan, which is now open. Just go to covid19relief.sba.gov, and there you'll be able to eligible up to $10,000 the advance money, which basically you can use for your business. There's no payback, there's no tax, I think, attached to that either. Okay, the PPP loan, that just to go to the ones I talked about earlier, the link. If you guys need the link, email me or text me, okay, to get the PPP loan. Right now, I think the bank maybe is already finished, so you may have to resort to the online application. Well, where I'm really past the time. If you have any questions regarding the whatever disaster loan, or even in business in general, right? Just go to my, you can call me 650-382-1118, or email me at info@victoryfinanceinc.com, or go to the website victoryfinanceinc.com. There's a lot of resources there as well too. And also you can book a free appointment, okay? And I have these upcoming webinars, so just mark your calendar for 3 p.m. Pacific time, Tuesday and Thursday. Those are the Tuesday ones, are more for business finance related right now. My focus since the SBA Disaster Loans and CARE Act, it has been focused on that. Thursday is more business operational, which is sales and marketing. Okay, so those are both at 3 p.m. weekly Pacific Daylight Time. And also I have that special, I just did the first session on the webinar for, oh, it's not in there. This is just the, okay. Yeah, those are the, the Thursday ones, the tools, the business key areas, operations, sales, and marketing. Okay, this is the one I'm talking about. So I have that special 2-part webinar for this week and next week. It's Tuesday 1:30 p.m. Tuesday and Thursday 1:30 p.m. Okay, so the first one I already did. It's also on my Facebook Live if you want to go back to it. And Thursday is going to be the second part of it. And today, basically, we talk more about the goals planning part, and then the what part. And then Thursday, we're going to do more the how part, the develop action plan, so that we can, and in the end, you'll have that 1-page implementation plan checklist, right? So you can use that for your business. Okay, so that's the planning class I'm doing for this mid-year planning class I'm doing for this week and next week. So And that's just the, so you'll get your finance plan out, create an operation checklist, define your target customers, develop your marketing plan, and have your action plan. And lastly, have your one-page implementation checklist. Okay, so that's the mid-year planning class, and you can register. Okay, again, my name is Victoria Brasha. You can reach me at 650-382-1118 or email me at info@victoryfinanceinc.com. Visit my website, victoryfinanceinc.com, and there's an opt-in part that has a special page with all the SBA loan related information there. And if you have question, you can book a free appointment. There's no limit, no selling or anything. All it is for me to help you to see, because every business specific, right? And your situation might be specific. You may need some, suggestion and consultation in that sense about your disaster loan and different things, right? So I'm here to help. And you can go directly to my calendar link, or you can go to the website. There's a way you can book as well too. So the Calendly link is called the calendly.com/victoryfinance/15 minutes, basically, MIN. Okay, so that's a way to get a hold of me. And I know I'm running out of so much of 15 minutes over my time. It's just a lot of information, and I want to share with you guys. And I know it's like I know that the PPP is going to be deadlines this week. I mean, next week, right? Because it's by 30th, but you need to already get applied. So it's pretty much, this week and early part next week, you have to already get to the lender, right? So, and also the EIDL, it's open, the portal's open, but we don't know how long, right? So I really want to, kind of go through all this so you have an understanding, and also the time sensitivity, right? So I want to make sure that at different stages you're in business, and giving you that information that can be valuable and relevant to your business. Okay, and I just want to before I finish, I just want to say thank you, and I appreciate you spending the time with my webinar. I hope that the information is relevant to your business, and I really want to, I'm here to help. I really want to your business to not only survive, but also thrive. And I want to provide you with the information, the tools, or whatever that can be helpful to you. Okay. And I know that, right now, the business, the outlook, the whole world looks so bleak. And I do believe that if we are united and helping each other, and we will be able to overcome this. So, I'm here for you, and and all of us want to just help each other and stay united. And thank you so much. And I will see you this Thursday. Thanks. Bye, everyone.